Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this presentation on looping statements by Group 4. Loops are a fundamental concept in programming that allow us to perform repetitive tasks efficiently and effectively. In this presentation, we will explore the different types of loops available in programming languages and their syntax, as well as best practices for their use. By the end of this presentation, you will have a solid understanding on how to use loops to automate repetitive tasks and streamline your code. So let's dive in and explore the world of looping statements. But first, we have the task distribution. Firstly, we have COTONIEL to present the results of the debug code, Hadwin PARREñas for the flow of the script and arrangements, Jharmley ARNAIZ for the analysis and conclusion, and lastly Marione Crucero for the narration. Now let's call on my groupmates to start the demonstration.
This is a program that calculates and prints out the values of n squared, n cubed, and n raised to 4 for the first 5 positive integers. N is equal to 1 to 5 using a loop. The program initializes a variable n to 1, prints out a table header, enters a while loop that runs as long as n is less than or equal to 5, calculates and prints out the values of n squared, n cubed, and n raised to 4 using the power function. Increments n by 1 after each iteration of the loop and returns 0 to indicate successful completion when you run the program. It outputs a table that shows the values of n squared, n cubed, and n raised to 4 for n is equal 1 to 5. This program prompts the user to enter 10 integers, calculates their average, and prints out all the integers that are smaller than the average. It includes input validation to ensure that the user enters only valid integers. The program uses an integer array to store the numbers and 2 integer variables to keep track of the sum and the average of the numbers. It also uses 2 for loops to iterate over the numbers and output the result.
Using what we learned, we initialized the variables and executed them only once. We filled the required condition for it to be true so that the body of the loop is executed, and would instantly terminate itself when it reached the state where it is false. It should function and update for the value initialized variables and check again the condition. When we then utilize a header file, include CMath, containing definition for C++ for computing common mathematical function that helps to shorten the code. After merging, we were able to make a functioning multiplication table starting 1 to 10 for the numbers 1 to 10. We have observed that it uses what we learned from the past lesson by applying them in different ways, since it could make an achieve in different numbers of ways. Most of the development in the world is all because of technology. Technology has grown so much farther than everything else. All of the technology is developed because of coding and programming. Coding and programming hold a vital role in development. By applying all the logic of different codes, we can make new codes that function differently by integrating it. This may help the world since it's language used by machine. It can make repetitive tasks easier to do, like packaging and assembly lines. We could then use it to make it short and more functional code as we make more complex code as parts. We learned different ways to write code, but in order to minimize the length of the code, we decided to use our past lesson to utilize another header file or another way to convert a code.
In conclusion, we have covered a lot of ground in this presentation for looping statements. We have discussed the importance of loops in programming, the different types of loops available, and best practices for using them effectively. We hope that you have gained a deeper understanding of how to use loops to simplify your code and make it more efficient. Remember, loops can be incredibly powerful tools in your programming arsenal, but it's important to use them appropriately and with care. Thank you for joining us today, and we wish you all the best in your programming endeavor. Thank you and have a great day.